everybody. So I'm like scrambling today. So I got everything organized. We're good. But it's just like, it was like a scramble all day. It's just been kind of a different day today. So just trying to get everything kind of adjusted here. All right, there we go. Better. All right, sweet. So I want to say hi to everybody who haven't been live for a while. So if you haven't heard, Awakenings is franchising. And so we have been absolutely bombarded with potential franchisees that may want to be able to open up their own Awakening store. So we have literally been dealing with a lot of that stuff. Plus, not only that, Eric and I are opening up a store in Sioux Falls as well, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So let alone still running our business here in Omaha. And then I'm still doing readings and still trying to get everything kind of ready to go and straight, alone with raising 3 teenagers, still trying to do all that. So now that baseball season has a pause, and I say pause because Steven's going to do fall baseball. So I'll still be doing more baseball. So literally my life has been nothing but baseball and work, pretty much for the last 2-3 months. So at least things are kind of settling down now here a little bit. So we can kind of get back to doing these videos, which is what I love doing. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'm going to highly recommend that you do. And then if you haven't, I just sent out a newsletter here today. If you did not get my newsletter, make sure that you head to my website, which is psychickelli.com. And at the very bottom, you'll be able to see where you can sign up for the newsletter. So that way you can kind of keep tabs on me, where I'm going, what's happening, and some of the other classes and workshops that I'm also going to be offering up. So I literally have a list in my phone of the different classes and workshops here that I'm going to be doing. So I'm kind of excited. Like, we're going to be working on like the narcissistic empathic relationship. We'll talk about a little bit about crystals. We're going to talk about just kind of really everything. So if you guys have any video ideas or that you want to learn about something that maybe you don't know, let me know. I will definitely do a video on it. So, like I said, it would do the Q&A today, and then we have a Flash Friday sale on Awakenings Facebook page on Friday. And then I'm still trying to figure out, like I said, what all is going to happen the next week. I am going to be kind of whipping out the calendar here and starting to put, especially in August, putting some more things on the calendar as far as events and workshops. So I will not be able to do any of the live audience readings yet. And a lot of that's honestly due to COVID, and some of it's also due to the fact that like I said, we're franchising, and it looks like we have a potential franchisee that will be opening up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So we'll have to kind of split our time. So Eric will have to go one direction. I'm going to have to go to a different direction to be able to get these stores opened. So like I said, lots of things happening, lots of exciting things happening. So if you guys have never attended a Q&A, now is your opportunity to ask whatever questions that you want. So I'm not going to be necessarily reading you or reading people during this one, but this is just all about questions of like, like, why am I experiencing this, or what exactly does this mean? So like I said, I'm all for the questions. So let's do it. The body and what causes the illnesses, the body and family issues. Yep, that's on the list. So I will tell you, I'm not going to lie. I've got this book, and it's so funny. I have to giggle a little because I actually have it behind, which is, okay, so check this out. I'm going to tell you now, we don't sell these in the store, but I'm going to tell you this book, love this book. So it's by Yvette Rose. It's called Metaphysical Anatomy. It's a freaking book. So, but what I love about this one versus like Louise Hay's, so this book really goes in depth about the emotional things that you're holding on to, the negative emotions that could lead into diseases within the body. Great book. So I agree with like 90% of this stuff. I really do. There's a few things I disagree with because, simply put, I see it differently, but this is a great book. So like I said, it's on Amazon. I think it's anywhere from $30 to $50. I don't really, I mean, like, I've had this book a while. It's used. It's gently, I use a lot. Let's just be real. So I love it. Like I said, I like to do audiobooks. Because my ADHD, it's kind of hard for me to read, but that book I have read. So I love it. What are my thoughts on Rife machines? Oh, love Rife machine. So a Rife machine is a machine that emits a certain radio frequency or frequency that will align your body with that frequency. So say that your liver vibrates, because everything vibrates. Your liver vibrates at like 400 hertz. Well, if you take a Rife machine and put that at 400 hertz, it makes your liver then go into alignment, so it's able to slough off disease. So I love the Rife machine. Like I said, it's pretty underground. You're going to have to kind of find it because, of course, the pharmaceutical company doesn't want you finding things like that because, you know. So, but Rife machine, love it. Believe it or not, I live here in Elkhorn, Nebraska, and he was, I believe, born and raised in Elkhorn, Nebraska. So I thought that was kind of a cool little tidbit. Let's see. Spiritual cause of bipolar disorder, Julie, that is a father or a dad abandonment issue. So that's where that comes from. It's dealing with the abandonment of your father. So mass on the left breast, it is because you're an overprotective mother, or because or you resent your child somehow, some way. So usually it has to do with children or you being an over mother. So my mama bears, and when I mean mama bears, like they will kill you if you touch their babies. We have to watch for the left breast, especially if the child was hurt accidentally or purposely by another person. So that's usually where that one's going to come in on the left side. Let's see, difference in ringing in the ears. Yes, Amy, I'll talk about that. So the right side of your body is the intuitive side, feminine. So this side, well, at least when it comes to brain, sorry about that. Actually, your left side is feminine, but on the right side is your intuitive side of the brain, which translate to left. So this side right here. So when your ears ring on the left side, the high pitch ringing that you hear, those are angels. The low pitch is going to be more spirit guides. Now the left side is usually going to be more of loved ones. So, but the high pitch, because they vibrate at a higher frequency, are usually going to be angels. And it's not necessarily that they have something to say other than they're literally within your auric field and letting you know we're here. So don't worry about it. Let whatever thought you got going on, or ask God for help. Personally, I believe in God. If you believe in source or whatever you want to verbalize it, it's the same damn thing. So, but the biggest thing is, you know, ask source for, like I said, ask source for a little bit of guidance, and it's their job to guide you. So, but like I said, usually it's just letting you know that they're around. Melanoma is holding on to resentment, usually the way that you were raised, but especially not feeling comfortable in your own skin, usually due to criticism. So that's where that one's coming in. What tarot deck do you recommend? Not Oracle. I like the old school Rider-Waite's. I mean, they've been around for literally centuries. So I like the old school Rider-Waite tarot card deck. Those are the best ones. And of course, I'm going to tell you to go get it at Awakenings. So, but I like those. Causes of high blood pressure, Melissa, stress, point blank stress. So stress is different than anxiety. So stress is a feeling of, I've got to get a lot of stuff done. I got a lot on my plate. I got to start getting rid of it. Anxiety is the worry about the future stuff. So that's a little bit different, but you almost always, it's stress. So, or you're constantly saying, I'm stressed out when you're just sitting on the couch chilling. So, but I always help people be very mindful for what you say out loud, because when you start the sentence with I am, those are very powerful words. And whatever you say behind that is like putting some hot sauce on it. So be very, very careful with how you begin or how you end the sentence with I am. So that's a big one. Let's see. Seeing light differently, sunlight's brighter. Susie, that is, I will tell you, I have to have sunglasses all the time now. And that never used to bother me, never used to bother me. So I don't know if honestly the sun is getting brighter, or if, you know, our eyes are having a hard time adjust. You know, we had this discussion just the other day with somebody, and I don't know, maybe it's me and my memory, but when I brought it up, people were like, huh. So do you remember growing up and the sun was a lot more yellow and now it's a lot more white? So I can't be the only one that noticed that. So, but I do notice that. Interesting. How long after you pass away can you reincarnate? Usually after the 3rd year, so fairly quickly. Yeah, so some people can do it a little bit faster depending on what they need and everything else. But basically put, like I said, the biggest thing is that when you cross over, you get the opportunity to come back to Earth, but usually we're going to meet with a council before we choose to come back. So that helps. Crystals for anxiety. Susie, I will tell you, best ones are going to be amethyst, lapillidite, hematite actually is really, really well. So any of those 3 are going to be great. Will I ever make my chakra sprays again? I can't. I do not have enough time. I barely have I literally threw in a load of laundry before I went live, and I got here at 6:30. So do I have any cancellation with readings? I do not. Unfortunately, I am booking until next year. So, but unfortunately, no, I don't have really a cancellation list, because if people cancel online, somebody's going to fill it before I even know it's even canceled. So it'll get filled right away. Let's see here. Stuck in life, not sure what direction I should go. Any ideas? I'm not doing readings, but I will tell you, follow your curiosity. So a lot of people want to feel safe and they don't like to make big moves. I'm like, well, big moves is how you make it big. So you got to be willing to take a chance. So that's why I'm like going, just figure out how things feel. Passed on his birthday, found out his paternal grandmother passed on her birthday. Coincidence? No, Katie, it just means that if somebody dies the same time as somebody else, or they're born and die the same day, that usually just means to tell me that they are part of a soul family. So that's actually more common than what you think. And that those 2 people probably had a lot of previous lives together, but they're part of a soul family. And so they'll exit and be born the same day very often. So a lot of times they'll even be born on the same day and die the same day. So that's actually really common. Or you begin to see like you'll see like a pattern, like everybody in your family dies on the 29th or something like that. So that's actually more common than what people talk about. So thoughts on flat Earth? I didn't really look into that. It doesn't resonate with me, but I haven't looked at the quantum physics behind it. So once I figure that out or look into it, I'll let you know. But right now, it doesn't make sense to me, but I can't say no because I haven't looked into it. So I'm always one not to poo-poo an idea until I've done my own research. So let me look into that, because like I said, I have to look at the quantum physics behind it, because that makes sense to me. Science, that type of science makes sense. So will we go into another lockdown? This one's a hard one, because us enlightened ones are seeing some weird things happening. So, I'd be surprised, honestly. I really would. What I'm more worried about is them making the vaccine mandatory. So I think that we should all have a choice in that. That's just my personal opinion. So, but like I said, I'm more worried about them making us or forcing us to think a certain way or do a certain thing. So, because I still think that we should have free will to choose that. So, but that's just my opinion. What are my thoughts on tapping for manifestation? Not only yes, but hell yes. So, because what that does is it refocuses the brain on you focusing in on what it is that you want, not focusing in on what you don't want. So I like tapping for the brain. Absolutely. Let's see here. My son passed 14 years ago. 6-year-old daughter will keep sometimes at night after laying down to go to bed. She misses her brother and wants him back. Your thoughts? If he's popping into the head, Gina, when she's going to bed, that means to tell me that she's accidentally tapping in and he's coming by. And that's why she has it's not random. That's why she has a random thought about him. And that's why she's like, wow, I really miss him. It's because she can feel that essence, or she can feel that he's around. And then she gets the image of who he was. And that's why she then was like, oh, I miss him. So just understand that when she says that in a weird way, he's around and she's tapping into his energy. She misses the physicality of it. My opinion on the indigenous children. I will tell you, my heart breaks. my heart absolutely breaks and I'm mad. And I'm mad because once again, nobody gets held accountable. So I'm like, that's what makes me mad. I'm a big person in that if you make a mistake, you own it. You own it. I've made plenty of mistakes and I'm the first person to own it. And I have no problem owning it on stage or any other platform. What bothers me is when people make a big mistake or groups of people make a big mistake and they don't own it or they don't recognize or like, oh, we don't talk about it. No, we're going to talk about it. So, because I have a big problem with that. I really do. And the bigger issue is you're just hearing about the ones in Canada. You ain't hearing about the ones here on US soil because you won't hear about that. So, like I said, I don't like that. That makes me sad. It really honestly breaks my heart. But then I get angry because there's nobody to be held accountable. So, let's see. Do I have to worry about differing energy with storage or display with the crystals? No, Tana, not necessarily. Nope. So I'll be real with you. I literally have mine on like huge pieces of selenite. I just keep them on the selenite. And when I can remember, well, then I throw it outside in the full moon so it can charge and cleanse. How to tell which voice to listen to in my head? Veronica, the faster one. I know that sounds weird. So, because here's the deal, is that your intuition often feels like your imagination. And so it hits you and then your brain goes, now, wait a minute, I must compute. And so then your brain's like, well, and then here comes the damn ego in there to screw it all up. So pay attention to what pops into your head really quick. So like I said, it's nothing in this world is random, nothing. So if something pops into your head, what I've been telling people is say it out loud. Say something, be like, why am I thinking about so-and-so out of nowhere? And then sure as shit, usually within 48 hours, you're going to find out why that person came into your head. Sometimes it's negative. Sometimes it's positive. We don't know. We don't know. So, and that's what makes it really hard because it's easy for me to read other people. It's hard for me to read people within my own circle, but it's like, I can kind of sense it, but I don't always get the perfect answers. So that's why I'm like, be patient because that stuff isn't easy. But besides, you're learning spirit's language. They already know yours. So you're literally learning a whole different language. So I always have to tell people, be patient with that because it's not easy. It's not. What are we supposed to do when we see numbers repeatedly? So here's the deal. If you see a lot of replicating numbers in one day, 222, 444, 666, 777, you see a bunch of replicating numbers in one day, that means to tell me that you're really tapped in. That means to tell me that you're vibrating at a very high energy level. Those are the days to be like, okay, God, need a little help. That's when you're like, okay, God, this is what I need. Please show me what I need to do to get there. And then your job is just to imagine what it's like to already have it. It's your spirit guide's job to guide your butt to get you to where it is that you want to go. So that's their job. So, but always ask God or source or energy or whatever you want to call it for that help because spirit guides told me a long time ago, they're like, don't ask us for help. You ask source, you ask the creator. So, which by the way, they always call them the creator or source. So ask the creator first, because that way it sets everybody up for the right position. Because sometimes angels are better at doing this and this and this, and maybe your loved ones are better at doing this, this, and this. So if you just direct it towards spirit guides, you might be missing out on somebody. So, and secondly, spirit guides don't like to be praised. They like to thank you, they do, but they always redirect me and say, we are not to be praised. Creator is to be praised, not us. We are here to help you. So that's a big one. Does everybody have a spirit guide? Yep. I've never met anybody who doesn't, honestly. Let's see. Will there ever be laws to stop slaughter pipeline when it comes to horses? Kendra, I hope so. I really do. Let's see here, Jessica, cord cutting hasn't worked for me. What else can I do? You know what, Jessica, here's the deal, is that I had a friend of mine who had a very similar situation to where this guy kept stalking her. She tried cutting the cords. She did all of that. And then I sent her to a friend of mine. Her name is Mama Izzy, and she owns the Conjure Shop here in Omaha. And I will tell you that she did a little bit of conjuring work and helped her out tremendously. So maybe look into that. Like I said, I don't always have the answers, but at least if I don't know what to do and the basics aren't working, I have resources that maybe we can do a little bit of something different that would work. So Mama Izzy helped her out and it worked awesome. So maybe try that out. Let's see. Best way to practice guessing what will happen next or guess things about people. Practice. And then number 2, meditate. So don't expect anything magical to happen when you meditate. It's the after effects. That's when you start to see more signs, more patterns, you'll see more, you'll feel more, you'll hear more, it'll be more. So, but it's almost like you got to learn how to shut your brain off to be able to do that. And meditation is not easy. So ringing in the left ear is usually loved ones, Abby. From your opinion on Healy machines for animals. Yep. So very similar to the Rife machine, but yes. Kristen, is second sight's ability different than the Claire's? No, same. Like I said, if you guys, the baseline foundation for reading people and psychic abilities and really getting to know those psychic abilities, meditate. You got to know how to meditate. And I'm telling you, that stuff is really difficult, especially for people like me that have ADHD. So meditate. So it took me a year to get to meditating for about 10 minutes. So that's why I'm like going, it's not easy. It's not easy. And everybody's different. Some people can meditate for a little bit in 3 months. They're good to go. Other people, it takes a little while. So like I said, patience. Can we have more than one spirit guide? Absolutely. Many of us have anywhere from 3 to 5 to 7. How to stop or break an addiction, Wendy, that requires a lot of work. It really does. But usually addiction issues are from severe trauma in childhood. So I'm going to tell you, deal with the trauma, deal with the hurt and the pain of what may have happened in childhood. So, because honestly, that's what addiction is from. So, but a lot of people rather would do drugs and alcohol or gamble or go shopping than to deal with that issue because they know it's going to hurt and they don't want to go through the pain. So, let's see here. Any advice for starting over since my awakening what in the heck? Hang on. Hang on 1 second. My cursor is going absolutely crazy and there's no reason. I'm like, my dogs aren't near. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. It was about ready to, this is weird. It's about ready to shut it down. And I'm like, hey, we're going to keep trying this. Because that's why I was like, wait a second. Why is my cursor was literally going like this all over my face. And I'm like, hey. Let's see. When you see your birthday, hey, Mindy, that's good. That just means to tell me that you're identifying who you are with your higher self. So whenever you see your birthday, that's a good sign. That just means to tell me that you've been doing really a good job working on you and identifying what you like, what you don't like, who you are, where you're going, all that stuff. So that's not a bad thing. Do spirit guides talk at night? Yes, usually between 2 and 4. Almost always we wake up at 3, 3:33, 3:11, 3:30. So it's always or 4:44 or bleh. So something weird like that. So it's normal. And I hate it that they call it the witching hour because I'll tell you what, it's not. That is the best time to be able to communicate with your spirit guides is, believe it or not, 3 a.m. So it really is. Frequency of peace. Will there be an antiviral pill for COVID approved this year? I doubt it. No, I doubt it because that would mean that they wouldn't have to vaccinate. So no, I doubt it. What does it mean if you don't dream, Christy? It just means that you are tired, girl. That means that you're tired. So number 2, Christy, what I would tell you is ask God to help you remember your dreams. And right when you wake up, make sure that you verbally say something out loud. Ladder, water, spiders, whatever it might be. So, but verbally say it out loud so you can remember. Lindsay, sexual trauma crystal to help heal. Network Jasper. And I think I just got some in, so, and I haven't posted it yet, but network and red network jasper especially. So any of the red jaspers really help with that. Also rhodonite, and yeah, rhodonite and rhodochrosite would be a good one as well. Let's see, how long after you meditate do you see results? About 2 weeks, Penny. It honestly averages out to about 2 weeks. I was living in the trailer when I started learning this because I kept reading all these self-help books. And they all said, learn how to control your mind. And I'm like, well, the only way to do that is meditation. So once I started meditating, it was about 2 weeks. It's like something normally would have really pissed me off. And I was like, that doesn't bother me as much as it used to. And I was like, wait, whoa. That was not a normal reaction that I would normally have. So honestly, averages about 2 weeks, but it's almost like you don't necessarily notice the signs right away. You notice your response to things that normally would bother you. That's the first thing that most people notice. So Amy, why do I see 9/11? That just means to tell me that you're not necessarily paying attention to your spiritual connection, or you're not using it right now. You're trying to be all logical. So let's see here. Is there a difference between getting signs from guides and actually manifesting signs? No, Stacy, they're always from guides or loved ones or angels or anything else. So yep. So it's almost always from them. Could the childhood trauma be repressed? It could be. The only time it really gets, the only time it really goes that way, and the reason why I'm hesitating is that's where split personalities come from, is from repressed trauma. So usually if it's repressed trauma, it's going to be under the age of 5, but split personality obviously is severe trauma over a long period of time, and that's why they have 2 different personalities to protect themselves, protects the brain. So am I equipped enough to use tarot cards? Yep, Susie, you're ready. Advice on writing a book. Yes. Just write the book. That is the one thing my spirit guides. So I like organized, and my guides were like, stop trying to organize it. Stop trying to worry about the titles. Stop trying to worry about the chapters. Just write. Just get it down and write. And it's true. Don't worry about going back and editing. Don't worry about words. Just literally sit and type, or do what I do and get that dragon headset. And it's like literally text to talk. Love it. So do that. And that's awesome too. I really enjoy my text to talk stuff. So, but it goes right up on the TV screen. And then honestly, I usually have help for them to edit, because I'm not good at that. My mom is the really proper English person. So usually I have my mom read it first. So how do you forgive somebody who wronged you morally? Do you have to forgive them to become enlightened? No, not necessarily, Jenny, but I'll tell you what, a lot of times I'm going to tell you, look at how they were raised. Look at how they were raised, and understand that usually they're unenlightened and they are ignorant and they don't know any better. So you really have to look at how they were raised, and it gives that higher perspective for you to begin to let go of that resentment, that bitterness. So, because it was really, if they're raised in dysfunction, you're just like, oh, well, no wonder why you're screwed up. You haven't dealt with that issue yet. Bless your heart. So that usually helps. Been feeling detached and burned out lately? Tanya, I will tell you, a lot of us have. So, and that is just remember at the very beginning, I said July is going to be a difficult month. This is why we're all in neutral. We're all kind of getting our crap shoved in our face, and we're all having to stand and deal with it. And the ones that aren't standing and deal with it are doing drugs and alcohol. And then we're usually like in a relationship with them, or they're our siblings or something. So then it just, but like I said, the biggest thing is hang in there. September, October is going to be so much easier, so much easier. So hang in there, guys. But a lot of us do. And the biggest thing I'm going to tell you is get outside, get back to simplicity. Get back to simplicity. Clean your house, meditate, eat good food, drink lots of water, feet to earth. So go back to the basics. So, but because that Cryon, I'm telling you, so when Cryon goes retrograde, which it's going to be retrograde until about December, it's all about emotions. It's all about like old school crap coming out. So I always think when Cryon goes retrograde, I always think of skeletons coming out of closet and smacking you in the face. So that's what I'm like, stand and deal. Stand and deal. Don't hide from it. Don't go away from it. If you need to get counseling, get counseling. I mean, this is some heavy, heavy stuff here that we're dealing with. So what makes me really nervous is, and you guys, if you guys follow me on Facebook, I've been really telling people, please make sure that you watch people that are depressed, because probably next week, week and a half, people that are suicidal very well could attempt again. So kind of, keep your eye on things, keep your eye on your friends and family. So let's see, who do I recommend seeing about past lives? Jenny, I like A+ hypnosis because I'm going to tell you, I always tell people, don't have a medium or a psychic tell you what your past life is. And you want to know why? Because I, as a medium, can make anything up and you would buy it. You would buy it. There's no evidence when it comes to past life stuff. There's no evidence. I could make anything and be like, oh yeah, that's so interesting. That's so me. So I'm like, I could make anything up. I would tell you, go to a past life regressional hypnotherapist that will be able to take you back in a hypnotherapy session to be able to see and actually experience those past lives. So like I said, I love Tim at A+ Hypnosis. They're great peeps. So, but that's why I'm like, I always suggest to people, do the work yourself versus having somebody like a psychic medium like me tell you what that is. So let's see here. How is August going to be? About as spicy as July. So either we're going to even out here a little bit, but still it's July is kind of, June and July are kind of heavier months out of the year. August is, for me and for a lot of people, it's like a rest month. Like, we're tired. We're emotionally tired. We're physically tired. We're tired. So a lot of August is rest and relax and chill and good stuff. What causes somebody to be a child predator? Two things could happen, Jenny. One, they were exposed to pornography at a very early age as a child. Or two, they were sexually molested at an early age. So almost always one of two things. Let's see here. How do you start communicating with your spirit guides? Good question. So what I would tell you is do what I did. And I know this sounds so weird, but I read, and I was reading a book and they said, well, all you have to do is just ask them for a sign, but be specific. I'm like, okay, spirit guides, if you're real, I want to see a purple feather. So I just said it off the cuff, didn't think anything of it. 3 days later, my daughter, who was about 7 at the time, came up to me. She's like, Mom, I got this for you. And it was a purple feather. I don't know where she would have gotten it. I don't have any purple feathers at all. But she's like, here, I got this for you. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. You're real. Got it. So like I said, ask them to give you a sign. They will, but be specific about that sign. How to prepare for future timelines, Erica? Don't worry about it. And I'll tell you why. Because there is so much malleability there with the future timelines. I have a lot of people that are kind of going underground and looking at all these different timelines about the bad ones and the good ones. And I'm going to tell you, focus on the timeline that you want to see. Focus on it. Don't focus in on the negative. Law of attraction is still at play. Focus in on what you want to see, not what you don't want to see. So like I said, focus in on the timeline that you want to see. All righty. When you don't live close, how do you find a good psychic or Reiki? Honestly, talk to them on the phone. That's why I like live videos, because you get to see their personality a little bit. So, but don't be afraid to do your research. Ask for references. Absolutely. So like I said, I'm not gonna please everybody. I'm just not. There's gonna be people that don't like me, and that's okay. So, but find one that you vibe with. Really, find one that you feel like you can vibe with. Does God forgive child predators? God forgives everybody. So absolutely, yes. Believe it or not. So, are there crystals for weight loss? Yes. The best ones are going to be blue apatite. And let me think. Yellow jade helps with metabolism. And then clear quartz is going to amplify the both. So, yep. When learning tarot, is it necessary to sleep with each card to understand? No, not necessarily. But here's the deal, Hillary, is that for me, I don't do inversions. So I already have to memorize 57 cards. I don't want to memorize times 2. Okay. So what I did is I would lay my cards out, and sometimes I would understand what they meant. Other ones were really fuzzy with the guidebook. I'm like, okay, this one guides, this one means school. Doesn't mean culmination. This means school or education. So when I see this one pop out, that's what that means. So, and ever since then, it's never, when it pops out, I'm like, oh, you must be a teacher. They're like, how'd you know? I'm like, that's right there. Because that's what I asked them to do. So you tell spirit guides how you want that spread to go. So I don't do, when I do like a Celtic cross, I don't do, what's ahead of you, what people think of you, no, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. That's how I want it. It's a lot easier. So just tell spirit how you want it to roll in your way. So, because like I said, I don't do inversions. I'm not going to do them. So, because if whatever's blocking you is going to show up with whatever's blocking you. I don't need to see anything else. Jennifer, seeing purple swirly visions when meditating. Ooh, 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 ooh. That means to tell me that third eye is opening and you're seeing that open. That's a good thing. Pretty soon you might start to see shapes. And then after, because at first you start to see the lava lampy, then you see the swirls, then you see geometric, like the platonic solid shapes, or the sacred symbols. And then you begin to see what looks like faces and feet and arms and shit. So I'm like, that's a good thing. Is it common for past family members to show up in meditation? Are they guides? Sure, they can. Absolutely, they can. So no different than a spirit guide. But all of our loved ones guide us in a little bit of different ways. And then we also have spirit guides too. So you bet. When you ask questions, when you ask a decision you made Mindy, I think just when it comes to decisions, like I said, just ask God, go straight to the source. Is now a good time to sign contracts? It is. Yep, you're good. How do you focus on what your life purpose is in time of change? That's a hard one because I always follow what feels right. I don't use my logic, which really pisses off my mother. So, but I don't use logic. I'm like, if it feels good and I'm like, okay, Spirit God, if this is what I'm supposed to do, show me, boom, there, done. That's it. I'm in. So I just need to see one sign for clarification. Once I see it, I'm in. So I don't question it because I wouldn't have seen it if it weren't for me to see or hear or feel or whatever the case may be. So that's a big one. That's I'm like going, I just don't question it anymore because I know my connection. So, but my purpose very well is ever changing. So I'm always changing. So like I started out being paranormal research, then I went into Reiki, then I went to psychic medium. Now I'm going into teaching. So my purpose has been ever evolving. I just keep going there. And I think a lot of people think that your life purpose has to be just one and done. This is what it is. It's pinnacle. Like not necessarily. So is it okay to cry during meditation? Hell yes. That's a big release. Absolutely yes. So that's a good thing. Let's see. No, Lindsay, that's your clairvoyance. Reincarnation, do we always have the same spirit family? How does that work? Nope, not necessarily. Changes all the time. So sometimes we have our soul family, other times we don't. So it honestly changes depending on what lesson you want to learn coming into this life. Depends. So do I teach Reiki? I do. I think my next class, crap, I don't know. It's in my calendar. I don't know. But I know that I just got done teaching a class. I do 2 classes a year. So what are red orbs? Usually red orbs are weirdly enough more like Bigfoot or cryptoids. So a cryptid type stuff. So which is the same thing as like the Bigfoot gnomes, all that stuff. Let's see here. Can you reincarnate as a spirit guide? Absolutely. Only after you feel that you've learned all the lessons or you just want to break from Earth. So, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Tanya, usually if a cat is like, what the heck, almost always it's either a bug or it's going to be spirit. So I'm petting my cat right now. He's like right there. He's just like, pet me. I'm like, okay, buddy. My dog always wants to be next to me when I meditate, especially if I cry while meditating. Can she feel it too? Jill, animals have a really cool way of balancing your energy when you need it. So I have a black cat. So I'll even show you here. Kitty, Kitty, you want to be on TV? Kitty, Kitty, he's right there. Hi, big boy. So that's my cat. And I will tell you that he slept on my feet last night. I slept like a freaking baby. I slept so good. And he has a way of grounding me. So certain animals will do certain things when you're in a subconscious state, meditation, sleeping, zoning out. So that's usually when he comes by and I need to be grounded, especially, he's literally by my feet grounding me. So, but I sleep so good. And if he doesn't sleep with me, sometimes it's Eric, sometimes it's Paige. It's weird. It's like whoever needs it, that's where he goes. So he's really good he's a grounder. So, but I'm telling you, when he's by my feet, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a good night's sleep. But you can't make him stay. It's not like I can take him and put him. I tried. So I'm like, you stay right here. He's like, you don't need me. Let's see. Had a reading set up in January. Can spirit guides help identify underlying health issues? Yes. Yep. I will tell you that it's weird. A lot of people label me as a medical medium. I've never done medical stuff, but weird. I don't know how I know medical things, but I do. So I do help out a lot with helping to identify what's going on in the body. So, and it's not so much me. I'm just listening to your spirit guides talk to me about what's going on. So, is my book on children out yet? But no, I did shoot the video and it is being edited and we may have to reshoot that. So I'm still working on shooting the video first. The book, when I have time to write, right now I don't have time. So, but now that baseball's over, I might have a little bit more time. How do we know the timing of change when seeing the 555? Usually it's within 3 days. Usually, and sometimes it's not that big of a change. So, and sometimes it's a really good change. So don't always assume that when you see the fives, because fives always mean massive change or big moves or big changes. So, but just don't assume that these changes are going to be bad. A lot of people do. And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. Sometimes they're actually really good changes. So sometimes it could be like money. Because that's what sixes mean. If you see sixes all the time, it doesn't mean Satan's following you or what. I've heard so much crazy crap. Sixes just means that you're focused in on money too much, and you're blocking your allowance of money by worrying about money. So, like I said, if you want more money, all you have to do is imagine what it's like to have it with all of your debt paid. And I know that sounds simple. It's that simple. So, but I'm telling you to do something that you're not used to thinking in that direction. So especially before you go to bed. Because here's the deal. What you think about before bed, you're marinating on for a good 5-6 hours. So make sure that the thoughts that you have before you go to bed are positive. So that way you're waking up in a positive way. It's not like you go to bed angry. You're going to wake up angry and then you stub your toe. So, if I'm questioning a job change, is that a sign? Abso-freaking-lutely. So, is there a difference in black salt versus Himalayan for cleansing? There is a subtle difference, and I'm not that. I know that Mama Izzy would know more about the salt stuff than I do. All I know is that all salt is cleansing, but I think Himalayan is it's better for baths, whereas black salt, I believe, is better for protection around a home. I could be wrong on that. So, but there is a difference in how to use it. But either way, in a pinch, I'll use freaking table salt to take a bath. I don't care. So I've done it. Let's see here. Right breast lymph node related to what family issues? That is anger, not necessarily resentment, but anger towards your husband or your father, most unlikely a husband or ex-husband or boyfriend or something along those lines. And that you're constantly talking about how that person did you wrong, which keeps you stewed in that anger. So, or bitterness, however you want to look at it. Spiritual meaning behind parental alienation. Ooh. An abandonment issue is a very difficult issue in this world. It is, because especially if it's the opposite sexed parent. So for instance, boys need their mothers, girls needs their fathers, right? So by having that abandonment issue, you're trying to learn how to love yourself unconditionally without that person showing you that. So that's hard. That's hard to do. So that's what I always tell people, is that abandonment issue is very, very difficult, because how are you supposed to learn unconditional love? So not easy. So we usually use it by picking a positive partner or with children. So let's see. When you're using Reiki done and they're using a pendulum and the pendulum is circulating over your crown, throat, heart, is that over? Nope. That is just simply opening up and aligning, Jen. So that's not a bad thing. It just means that they sometimes a pendulum can do it faster than our hands. So nothing wrong with that. Children being born 2020 on our children of Alpha are here to do what? They're here to basically not only raise the vibration, but remind us who we are at a soul level. So, love the videos. Do you do cheat sheets? Here's the deal. It's funny because I'm getting ready to do like the Psychic Kids video. That is going to be a paid video for like $40. It's going to be cheap. But after every video, you get the cheat sheet version of kind of the highlights of it. So I will be doing that when it comes to certain videos. But that one in particular is one that I've been working on for a while. So let's see here. Do you know if a narcissist has claws or hooks? Almost always they do. Almost always they do. What am I doing wrong if my pendulum doesn't move? It means, Cindy, a lot of times that either A, you're asking a question that you've got no business asking. Two, vibrationally speaking, that pendulum, whether it's a crystal or a stone, isn't necessarily vibrating with your energy. But the biggest thing is that pendulums are only made for you to ask questions about yourself, not about other people or how they think about you. So a lot of times somebody's going to be like, oh, does so-and-so love me? Well, it's going to give you a false read, or it's not going to move at all because it's not for you to know. So, and I get that a lot from my spirit guides. And I think people don't understand that your spirit guides aren't always going to give you the answers. So for instance, the other day I was trying to learn runes and I couldn't figure it out. And finally my spirit guides are like, would you just stop? You don't need to know this. I'm like, but I want to know this. And they're like, you don't need to. And I said, well, what happens if somebody comes up to me and they have a question about runes? I can't answer that. And they're like, we won't send you anybody that has a question about runes. And I'm like, so I shouldn't learn about it? They're like, no. I'm like, oh. So sometimes you get an answer that you're like, huh? Like, shouldn't I know this? But a lot of times, no, you won't. So it's all good. Do you see our country unifying anytime soon? Not until after 2025. So we've got a period here where it's kind of like we got some slivers and they need to fester so we can get them out. So not necessarily, I don't see that, but there's going to be a lot of division because the bad people want us to split and divide and not be happy. So, and I'm like, most of us don't think that way. Most of us are very inclusive. Most of us don't have issues with other races or religions or other people. So most of us don't. So, but they're going to try to bait people against each other because that's what they want for a narrative. And I don't play the game. I don't. So as a matter of fact, if I see that, and you can even ask my daughter, because it happened just the other day, we went to go get our nails done and somebody was very, very rude to the staff that was there, which most of them are from a different culture and they were speaking a different language. And this lady came in and she was so mean and I bit my tongue as long as I could. And I finally said something and I'm like, I'm so sorry that they are trying to make you look pretty, but nothing is going to fix that ugly, racist personality of yours. So, and my daughter was like, she was shocked and she was like straight savage. I'm like, I won't have it anymore. I will not. If I see it in front of me, I'm stopping it. I'm done. I'm not going to sit there and record it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop that from happening because I'm done with it. I won't do any more division. I'm not going to add to that anymore. Let's see. Does vibrating high keep sickness away? Absolutely. Absolutely. Happy people don't get sick. That's why, if you ever notice that you see somebody and they're like 110 and everybody's like, how are you able to live that long? You want to know how they do it? They let shit slide. They don't let anything bother them. They're like, meh. So, and it's not that they don't have motivation. There's a big difference in that. They just let shit slide. So those are the ones that don't invest their emotions into other people's actions. So that's a big one. And that keeps them vibrating high, which then in turn keeps them healthy. So absolutely. All right. Both of my daughters seem to be empaths. Suggestions on how to help them with this. Ooh. So give them tools on, I will tell you, there's a book, and it's an orange book, and it's the Empath Survival's Guide by Judith Orliff, I believe, Dr. Judith Orliff, and it is an awesome book. So it's an awesome book about empaths and how to be able to navigate through that. So number 2, the other thing is their dad, their biological father, can really come in and help with the empathy and help them with their confidence and help them to understand it's not my energy, it's your energy. So the biological dad has a big bearing on a high empath, unless he's narcissistic. So, because a lot of my empathic women were usually raised by a narcissistic parent. So in a weird way, it's like those people pleasers, it's almost like a trauma response or like a PTSD response. So usually from an overbearing narcissistic or controlling parent. Let's see. Tell signs of Palladians. Weirdly enough, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's been kind of quiet here lately. So it's been real quiet. So like I said, I think we're going to hear more about this in August, but I'm finally glad that the government is doing a slow disclosure, although I'd like them to rip off the Band-Aid, but they can't do that with an unenlightened people. I get it. But you're going to start to see a lot more things about UFOs, about seeing them, people experiencing them, all that sort of thing. So I want people to understand that there's good ones and there's bad ones, just like people. So don't just assume that they're all bad or they're all good. So there's different ones for different purposes. There really are. So, but that's why I always have to tell people, I'm like, just don't assume they're bad. They're not. So most of them aren't. So they're just a hell of a lot more advanced than we are. They just look at us and they're like, oh, look at the zoo. Isn't that cute? Those little people. All right. Will grounding oils and crystals help with ADHD? Yes, Jackie, it absolutely does. Patchouli is the best one for that. The best grounding crystals, for me, it's going to be garnet and onyx, believe it or not, black onyx. So absolutely. And the other one that's really good, Jackie, is Shara White, and it'd be red quartz, or not red quartz, fire quartz. So that's another good one too. That really helps to balance our brains when it comes to the ADHD stuff. Cut the cord with some toxic relationship. One person keeps trying to come back, ignoring, not responding. Keep going. You're doing it right, Jill. Don't acknowledge. Keep ignoring. Keep cutting the cord. Because what's happening is when you cut the cord on their end, they're like, there's a disturbance in the force. I must call. So that's what's happening. Keep cutting the cord. Just keep doing, because the minute you respond, that cord gets reattached. So you're doing it right. Doing it right. Lindsay, here's the deal. Everybody always wants my opinion on the whole vaccination thing. My opinion, honestly, is irrelevant. It really is. But what bothers me is the long-term, there's no long-term studies. And I'm like, that worries me. I mean, we just whipped up a vaccine and be like, here you go, you're good. And I'm like, oh, but what about long-term stuff? So we don't even know what COVID is going to do long-term. Like I got COVID back in January. We still don't even know what that's going to do long-term. So that's why I'm like going, to each their own opinion. Truly, you have to decide what's in the best interest of you and the family. And you got to base that on the facts that are given. So, or how you feel about it, really. It honestly is up to you. It should be a personal decision. I don't think it should be a forced decision. I don't. So, let's see here. Quality of these questions are so much advanced, enlightened. So yay. You're waking up. Yay. The Empowered Empath by Judy Dyer. Yes, that's another good one too. I agree. I always forget about that one, Leah. That is a good one. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Vaccine approved for emergency use only, so it couldn't be mandated. Oh, yes, it could. Oh, trust me, they'll slide something in there, or they'll make something up that you're going to have it done. So like, how do I learn how to control my premonitions? You know, Corey, here's the deal is that I've asked for my spirit guides and God to tone that shit down with me, because I used to see more earthly or worldly things, and I don't know when it's going to happen or where, and that's irritating to me. So I've asked for God to kind of shut that down a little bit for me, because I don't want to wake up in a dead sweat seeing a bunch of what looked like to me Chinese people getting swept out to sea and not knowing what's going on, only to have 3 days later a massive tsunami hit Japan. Like, after that, I was like, okay, here's the deal. If I don't know when and I don't know where, I don't need to know that, because it's not to my benefit. It hurts me. I don't want that. So tone that shit down. So ever since I did that, it helped. However, precognition is also a form of deja vu. So when you have deja vu, it's because you have seen this already in a subconscious state, whether that's dreaming, meditation, whatever the case may be. So that I still have. But again, I asked for that to be kind of shut down too, because my deja vu will last a half a day. I'm like, I don't need that. It gets weird. So I'm like, I don't need that. Can I just be human? Thank you. Let's see, tips to clear energies in my house so my kids aren't so moody, down, angry. Tanya, a couple things. You control your energy. Your child will act like a barometer to it. So if you're angry, kids are going to be angry. So sage, 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 sage. Number 2, get those kids outside. So get them outside as much as you can. And number 3, when they're having a shit fit, there's a reason. So, and us as parents are just like, would you just shut up? Because I got stuff going on. So, but the biggest thing is if they're having a meltdown, there's a reason. But kids oftentimes will lash out at us when we're not the problem. Maybe they're having an issue with dad and they miss their dad, or maybe they miss their animal and they're just mad. And like, we had to put my dog down, Jazzy. We had to put her down. We had her for 14 years, and both of my kids reacted very differently to that. But once they understood, listen, this is a normal grief. You're going to be angry when you're grieving. It's okay, but you don't have a right to take it out on me. You can't do that. Once they can identify it, then they're like, oh, my bad, got it. And then they'll put themselves in check a little bit better. Sage spray works in a pinch. I like the old school sage with the shell, with the feather, and because it's supposed to represent earth, air, fire, water. So that's why you do the fan, or that represents air. The sage is earth, the shell. So you got all elements there. So that's why I like to do that old school that way. Sage spray works in a pinch. It's fine, but don't feel like you need to only sage on just like a new moon. So you can sage anytime. Trust me. I got lots of kids here once in a while. I'm like, ugh, so I get their crap out. So I sage probably at this point, honestly, about twice a week. So, and my son doesn't like the smell of sage. So I'll just grab a Palo stick, Palo Santo, and I'll light that up and put that in his room. So, what does mirror effect mean? It means that people often are very self-reflective. So they'll sit there and say, like, especially narcissists are really good at this. They'll sit there and say, or cheaters even, like, you're cheating on me. I know that you're cheating on me. Let's see what you're doing. I know that you're cheating, when actually it's a self-reflective statement. They're the one cheating, but they're trying to blow smoke towards you. Or they'll sit there, which is the opposite, is self-reflective. A lot of people call me intimidating, or they call me a stuck-up bitch. And I'm not. I'm not intimidating. It's because I know who I am, and I know my connection to God, and that scares the hell out of you because you don't know your connection to source. You don't know your connection, and you don't know who you are. So as a result, you call me intimidating. I'm like, I'm not intimidating. You're weak. You're weak. Work on it. So anything that bothers you negatively is reflective. It's reflective. People don't piss you off. People don't piss you off. You allow yourself to get pissed off due to a circumstance. So, hard. Skin turns red when I sense other people's energy. Jill, I have that same problem. In readings, especially when I'm doing readings, I always have hair over my ears because this part of me will get bright red and it's really weird. So, but this always gets really bright red. And a lot of times it's because I'm tapping into their energy, but I'm also tapping into this energy. So when you tap into energy hard and fast like that, that's what happens. So it's an energy transfer of sorts. Why can you read people's minds sometimes? I don't like to, but I can, but here's the deal. It's none of my business. And I have a lot of people that will come into the store that they're like, oh, I'm a psychic. And they don't know who I am, which is fine. But they're like, oh, I'm a psychic. Let me tell you something about you. And I'm going to be like, stop right there. Stop right there. I didn't ask you. And you are wanting to read me when I didn't ask you to, because whatever's within me is none of your damn business. So like I said, I always tell people, and I teach my students this, is that you always ask for permission. I do not, and I will not go up to somebody in the grocery store and be like, hey, your mama's got a message. Because you know what? That is none of my damn business. And moralistically, sorry, that ain't right. That's not right. I completely disagree with that. And the only reason why Teresa Caputo does it is because of TV. It's because of TV. Do you really honestly think she's going to go up to people at the grocery store and do that? No, because it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Yes, what I end up doing is that their loved ones are still talking to me. And I just tell them, my name is Kelli Miller. Have your loved one come find me, and I will relay whatever messages that you want. That's the way to go about it. But again, I want to do that the right way with moralistic reasons. So like I said, if somebody comes up to me like, oh, let me read you, or I can read your mind, I didn't ask you to. I didn't ask you to. So that's a big one. I'm not going to give you my energy, because here's the deal. When they read you, they connect their energy with yours. So that's why I'm very selective with who I have read me. I'm very selective with who I have touch me. So because again, it's an energy exchange. I'm very picky with that. So my empaths can transmute that energy a hell of a lot easier than I can. So like I said, my empaths, when they give a hug, oh, you know what I'm talking about. There's that one person that they give really freaking good hugs. We all have that one person. So that's different. So if an empath grabs me, usually they're hugging me because, well, I need it. And they know it. So that's why I'm like going, that's different. But we all have that one person that gives really good hugs. I'll go for that every time. I'll go for that every time. So favorite way to clear my aura? Two, really. I usually sage, and I sage myself right before I get in the shower because otherwise my hair stinks. So I usually sage. The other one is to imagine your bubble, and then we all have a white bubble around, and then you're just going to buff the bubble. You're just going to buff it. So you're going to polish it up like a nice egg shape. You're just going to polish that up. And what that does is it not only cleanses your auric field, but it also fills in any gaps or any holes that may be in your auric field due to a negative energy vampire. So what's the matter? Oh, she's whining. So one of the girls left. But that's the easiest way to do it. So I think what we'll do is we'll put a pause on this. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'm going to highly suggest that you do. I just sent out a newsletter today. So if you didn't get the newsletter, check your spam folder if you've signed up for it. And if not, I'm going to encourage you to go to my website, which is psychickelli.com, and sign up for that. And of course, Kelly's with an I. I know I spell it weird. And then I will be doing a lot more of these Q&As here, guys. So now that I got a little bit more time and I'm getting away from baseball, but we are Awakenings is franchising. So at any point in time, if you're interested in possibly looking into a franchise where you live, all you have to go to is the Awakenings face or the Awakenings page, which is awakeningsstore.com. There's a tab there for franchise, and you can read all about it if you're interested. In the meantime, have a good month ahead, guys. We're almost through this really tough stuff. So like I said, August is our rest month. And then September, October, November, balls. It's going to be great. So, because we're all going to be kind of leveled up and seeing things from this different perspective. So it's going to be really good stuff. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, we will definitely be doing these more often. And if you really like this, make sure that you give me a thumbs up. Make sure that you're liking this and subscribe to it. All right, guys, take care. Have a wonderful week ahead. All right, take care, guys. Bye.